7 years ago, the Patriots made Drew Bledsoe the #1 overall pick in the draft. Today, he's considered one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League and has fans in New England thinking this could be their year. In Denver, John Elway has retired. Last year's NFL MVP Terrell Davis out for the season, casting a dark cloud over the Rockies. Quarterback Brian Griese has left in 1960. It's Denver at New England. Next on CBS.
Play like that. You want to be champions? Let's play like that. TVs on three. 1, 2, 3. TVs.
Off to begin the game. That means Jason Elam. And for the New England Patriots, Kevin Falk is the deep man wearing number 33 and bothered by a bad ankle. Week 7 of the National Football League season is underway as Falk brings it out. And is down as he gets near the 17-yard line. Good special teams play by the Broncos as Nate Wayne got down. And Drew Bledsoe comes on. Only 4. And had really his most modest week last week in the loss to Miami.
Part of that because Miami kept the football for over 40 minutes.
And here comes New England at the 17-yard line. First down and 10. Patriots come in 4-2, won their first 4 games, and have dropped the last 2. The handoff left side goes to Terry Allen, the veteran running back, who's down to the 22-yard line. Now you see Bruce Armstrong leading the way then, the left end. Pete Carroll, the head coach. Second down and 6. It'll be Allen again. Tries right guard this time, and is stuffed as he gets to the 25-yard line by a Denver defense that had a game for the ages last week in the win over the Green Bay Packers. Up front, it's Maa Tanabasa, Keith Traylor, Trevor Price, and Alfred Williams. Bill Romanowski, Al Wilson, the rookie, having a fine season, and Glenn Cadrez. And in the secondary, Ray Crockett, Tyrone Braxton, Eric Brown, and Dale Carter. And Mike Shanahan, the head coach. Lamont Warren comes in on 3rd down and 2. New England at its own 26-yard line. Bledsoe to throw for the first time. Comes left, has a man open. It's Warren. Out of the backfield, picks up the first down, and is pushed out of bounds near the 38-yard line. That's a gain of 12, and Eric Brown makes the tackle, number 26.
And on the very first series, we see for the Patriots something they weren't able to do all last week. Run successfully on 1st and 2nd down, and then it sets up the passing game of Drew Bledsoe. A relatively easy completion, but the reality was last week and most of this season, the Patriots have been so ineffective in running the football, averaging less than 75 yards a game. Substandard.
Here's Bledsoe on 1st down. Deep right side takes a shot for Terry Glenn. Incomplete. Glenn, who is tied for the lead in number of catches in the NFL with 37, was blanked last week in the loss to Miami. And Bledsoe airs it out to a Glenn who seemed open.
And Ray Crockett had the coverage, but it looked like the ball hit Terry Glenn right on the hands. You see Ray Crockett gets his right arm in there in a hurry to pull his arms down. And yes, it just grazed off the fingertips of Terry Glenn. Ray Crockett, though, very effective at the last moment, kind of tomahawking Glenn's arms down from being able to pull it in.
Mike Shanahan telling us last night that Ray Crockett has been a key player defensively for this Bronco team this year. Here's a play fake. Bledsoe goes in the right side again. That one's tipped and knocked down. Eric Brown, who does not have the best hands on this team, had a chance for his 2nd interception of the season. He had one last week, but he could not hang on.
Well, that's a sure completion, except for the hit. There's Dale Carter, number 40. He's actually blanketing Terry Glenn. And let's watch the collision just as the ball arrives. That was a fine job by Carter of driving into Glenn from behind. And you can see he got there just at exactly the moment the ball did. And Eric Brown, again, playing patty cakes with the football.
Here's Bledsoe left side to Warren, and a hit knocks it away. It was Eric Brown who made the collision possible, number 26.
Well, Drew Bledsoe putting the football where it needs to be, but you've got to credit coverage here. That one kind of wobbles a little bit on its way out there. A little too high. That's a really easy completion, except Drew floats the football. looked like it just slipped coming out of his hands the way the thing was wobbling on its way out.
The veteran Lee Johnson will kick it away to George Coghill, who is back to return punts. Chris Watson, the rookie specialist, on the inactive list with an ankle injury. And here's Coghill, who grabs it and counterpunches to the 25-yard line. 43-yard punt. Coghill's return good for 7. And the Denver Broncos going after their 3rd win in a row have the football. Time in this part of the country, and the weather could not be more spectacular. 55 degrees, clear skies. Brian Griese, the 24-year-old second-year quarterback, starting his 7th game, and what a roller coaster ride it has been for Griese this season. Team lost 4 games to get out of the gate as the defending Super Bowl champions. They've come back and won their last 2. Here's Griese across the middle, complete. Andy Katzenmoyer makes the tackle on the tight end, Dwayne Carswell. And the rest of the Bronco lineup up front, it's Joan Schlereth, Tom Nalen with a homecoming. He graduated from Foxboro High School, where the game is being played. And in the backfield, Landis Gary, 37 carries, 124 last week. Griffith, Rod Smith, McCaffrey, the wideouts, and Carswell, who just made the first catch for Denver in the game, gives us a 2nd down and 6. McCaffrey in motion. Tony Jones might have leaned.
Ball start. Number 77. 5 yards. Still 2nd down.
Our referee today is Gerald Austin.
Tony Jones gets the flag. Now, key guy to watch for Denver today is number 29. Their blocking fullback, Howard Griffith. And he is one of the best in the league as he comes out of the game right now. But Howard, with those 37 carries last week for Gary, meant that he had 37 lead blocks. He's had a bad neck, and he was a real question mark and a game-time decision.
John Avery comes down, 2nd and long. 2nd down, 11 officially. Andre Cooper is in. They hand the ball to Avery, acquired in an early season trade with the Miami Dolphins. And let's check the New England defense. Chad Eaton with that last tackle. He's one of the 4 up front with Mitchell, Henry Thomas, and Willie McGinnis. Andy Katzenmoyer had a big game last week against Miami. He joins Chris Slade and Marty Moore, who replaces Teddy Bruschi, inactive today. Law, Malloy, Carter, and Steve Israel in the secondary. 3rd and 9. Early going. Denver has the ball. And the dime defense is in now. 6 defensive backs. Here's Griese screen right side to John Avery. Looks for a block and gets it, but then excellent defensive pursuit. Lawyer Malloy, who leads this team in tackles with 70, gets his first pop of the afternoon.
Lawyer Malloy, Vern, was their leading tackler last year. That's not a good thing when a safety is your leading tackler. It is not a plus. And it looks at the beginning like this play is really going to happen. You got Dan Neal out front with a lead blocker. Outstanding pursuit. Henry Thomas part of that as well.
Tom Herron, the last 3 games, has averaged 52 yards apart. This one returnable by Kevin Falk at the 21. Spins out of a tackle and comes left. Spins out of another and lurches out to the 43-yard line. A 51-yard punt, but the counterpunch good for 20. And the New England Patriots come back on offense for the 2nd time.
West Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of the Super Bowl. The Intel Pentium 3 processor. And by Honda.
Drew Bledsoe off to a 1-4 start. That one completion to Lamont Warren good for 13 yards. 10:29 to go. Opening quarter of play. There's the handoff to Kevin Falk in the 2nd-round draft pick. Picks up back to the line of scrimmage. Well, the AFC East standings coming into play today look this way. Miami with that thrilling win over New England last week. The Patriots losing their 2nd in a row. Buffalo, Indianapolis, and of course the Jets struggling. Denver with an 0-4 start, won on the road at Oakland, then came back with a 31-10 victory at home last week against the Green Bay Packer team. 2nd and 9. Lamont Warren back in the backfield, number 27. Here's Warren with the handoff, and he is stacked up after a gain of 2. And let's check in with the 3rd member of our commentary team. Here's Bonnie Bernstein.
Hi there, Vern. Vern, talk about keys of the game for New England on offense. Dan, you mentioned they need to run better on first and second down, but offensive coordinator Ernie Zampese said they got to get it done on third down, too. The Drew Bledsoe is the top-rated passer on third down in the league, but last week against Miami, they were 2 of 11. Zampese said we absolutely have to sustain drives better on third down. Vern?
Well, they've got an opportunity here, 3rd and 8. And the running game continues to be a problem. 3rd and 8 out of the shotgun. Bledsoe has Sean Jefferson going in motion. Good protection for Bledsoe. He's got a man open. Ben Coates, who has been limited to 3 catches in the last 3 games. A big 3rd down grab for 19 yards before Eric Brown made the tackle.
And Ben Coates, who does so much of his work between the hash marks, this time gets an opportunity to work the sidelines. A zone defense here for the Denver Broncos, and I guess because of Ben Coates and the Patriots offense need a half a dozen catches out of Ben Coates today.
Ron Rutledge is an extra tight end, and they try to run again. This is a team that ran the ball times last week, and only 19 the week prior to that. And Ernie Zampese said, we've just got to commit ourselves to running. We just must continue to attempt it.
But Vern, running the football is not something that you just talk about on Wednesday and Thursday. It is an attitude that starts the first day of mini camps. It takes, Jimmy Johnson, I think, an excellent example of that, how he was preached running the football in Miami. It is something you must sell your team on. It's the hardest thing in football to just flip the switch and think that 1 week you're going to be able to run.
Warren comes in motion to the left side. Bledsoe will throw on 2nd down. He wants to go deep. Centers for an alternate receiver. That's Carter out of the backfield, who was left alone and works his way inside the 20 for a first down.
Well, it's not that Tony Carter should be some kind of a surprise here. That's his 11th catch of the year. You see Drew all the time in the world. Credit the offensive line. He checked off 3 different guys on the left side of the field and came back to his outlet, and Tony Carter and the Denver Broncos just completely disregarding. But credit that offensive line. Only 13 sacks on the year so far. That time they gave Drew a good 5 or 6 seconds.
Here's the handoff to Fox. Cuts back. He's got room. And Kevin Fox throws in for the score.
That's a rushing touchdown, Vern. That's everybody in New England. That's what it looks like. Now, Kevin Fox with the bad ankle. Again, he was a question mark this week as to how productive he was going to be. And twice now to the left side of the Denver defense, to the right side of the Patriots offense. A huge soft spot exploited by New England.
Adam Vinatieri on for the extra point. Kevin Fox with a 15-yard touchdown run. His first. Coming into the game, he had carried it 20 times for a whopping total of 31 yards. He puts the Patriots up by 7. Patriots break on top 7-0. A 59-yard drive. Took just over 3 minutes. Now Adam Vinatieri will kick off. 6 plays, and Kevin Fox, the 2nd-round draft pick out of Louisiana State University, gets his first touchdown in the NFL. Here's John Avery back to return the kickoff. Short kickoff by Vinatieri, takes it at the 6. And Avery has some room. Steve Israel holds it down, but a flag is down at the 35-yard line. That one will go against the Broncos.
During the run back, holding number 54 of the receiving team, 10 yards, will be first down.
Nate Wayne is the young man who's judged guilty of the hold. Monday on CBS, what could possibly drive someone to run out on the field during a World Series game? Watch Kevin James on an all-new King of Queens Monday on CBS. On first down, here's the toss left side. Olandis Gary, number 22, his first carry. Well, let's go back to New York and check in with Jim Nance.
Peyton Manning has done it once again. Marvin Harrison hooking up with his favorite target for another touchdown. 8th time this year they've hooked up. 7-0 Colts first quarter. Let's go back to Vern and Dan.
All right, Jim, as we said, Marvin Harrison came into this afternoon's play tied at the top in number of catches. Now here's McCaffrey in motion, and Greasy looks left. Overthrows Rod Smith. That might have been nicked in the line. Steve Israel might have got a hand on it. First half points last year to this year. You can see how troubled the offense has been with 46 first half points through 6 games.
Well, there have been a few subtractions. I believe I'm not sure there will be many offenses that wouldn't suffer from the loss of John Elway, Shannon Sharp, and Terrell Davis.
True. Third and 11. Blitz. Greasy scrambles. Slade has it. Chris Slade's 3rd sack of the season.
And Chris Slade is really having a fine season for the Patriots defensively, and he offers a nice balance to a healthy Willie McGinnis. You see the blitz coming, Steve Israel on the corner blitz. It really confuses Brian Greasy. He tries to step up into the pocket, but Slade collapses it. And we have seen both an offensive and a defensive intensity so far in this game by the Patriots.
Here's Tom Ruin's second punt. And again, this will be returned from the 40. Kevin Falk to the 50. And tackled at the 45. Interesting, special teams proved costly in last week's loss to Miami. They've been very beneficial in the early going for the Patriots here.
And by Blue from American Express.
Seven 7-0 Patriots lead Denver. Kevin Falk with a 15-yard touchdown run.
You know, Vern talked about the special teams problem. Here's Lawyer Malloy. Here's Ty Law, 2 starters on the Patriots secondary having to go on special teams. You see them really giving a work over here to Darius Johnson of the Denver Broncos. Pete Carroll called it a call to arms. He said, I've got everybody trying to play special teams. Special teams absolutely brutalized the Patriots last week.
On 1st and 10, Bledsoe will throw. Goes deep left side. They settles for the short man, but it's Ben Coates with his second catch. Now the ball down by contact with a first down to 28. Coates, a guy who has averaged 65 receptions per season the last 3 years, but has been going through an arid period here for a month.
Well, he just, and he's the guy that opens everything up for everybody else. You see him getting some good separation there on Eric Brown. But Ben Coates, with his work in the middle of the field, is the reason that Terry Glenn and Sean Jefferson and Tony Simmons have so much room to the outside.
Double tight end set on first down. Rutledge leading the way as Terry Allen skips out of the tackle. Well, this Denver team gave up only 21 yards rushing to Green Bay last week, and already a Patriot offense that previously been ineffective is running well.
And Vern, the week before to the Raiders, they only gave up 55 to the Raiders. They're the number 4 ranked team in the NFL against the run. And right now, with a nifty little move and some good blocking at the line, the Patriots are having their way with the Broncos. And right now, they're not running on anybody. I guess there's no way they're going to run on us. Wrong. Look at that separation in yards. Wow. A deuce for Denver.
Bledsoe play fake. And he's got all day. Now to the pressure contact. Coverage set. No one open downfield. And Harold Hasselback and Al Wilson get there.
And if you're going to be critical of Drew Bledsoe's game, it's one of the things the Patriots would like to see him do better, not hold the football so long. There comes a time when instead of trying to make the play, you're wise just to get rid of it. At this point in time, Drew Bledsoe, when he doesn't see a receiver, should just throw that baby away. The rules have been changed to really allow a quarterback to do it, and you hate to take that sack.
Loss of 9, second and 19. Jefferson is the motion man. They'll hand it off this time to Terry Allen, and again, slippery tackling by the Denver defense. Darius Johnson got the tackle in the 25.
Well, there's not a person in the NFL who doesn't admire Terry Allen coming back from 2 major knee reconstructions and still be an effective player. And look how strong he is when he delivers a blow at the end of his run. Last week, just completely removed from the game. 10 carries, 19 yards. Look at that today, averaging about 7 yards to carry. That's a nice reversal of fortune.
3rd and 11. Bledsoe. Centers from a short man, Lamont Moore, and he comes up 3 yards short of the first down at the 10-yard line.
Oh, but that's some valuable field goal yardage right there, picked up by that reception by Warren. New England has been here before, as they have a 7-0 lead now, and if they convert this field goal from Vinatieri, they'll be up 10-0. Last week it was 14-0, and they lost.
And 2 weeks ago, Vinatieri doinked one off the right upright with no time left, a 32-yard miss in a 2-point loss to Kansas City. This one, no doink. 28-yarder is good.
And I would think there may be a discussion on the Patriots sideline, Bert, about holding a lead.
This New England team has lost 11 in a row for the Denver Broncos. Are trying to upright that little aspect of this relationship. Here's John Avery back to return the kick. Vinatieri will send it deep. Avery, near side. Almost has his head taken off, and the flag comes down. Simmons prepares for the tackle. But it looked like Vernon Crawford, number 99, might have gotten hold of the face mask.
That raises a gasp from the crowd.
Illegal block from behind during the run back, number 50 of the receiving team. 10 yards.
Let's take a look at Vernon Crawford on the play. The one they didn't see, apparently.
Here's Avery. Right here. How does that not draw a flag? We're about 100 yards away, and that's awfully apparent. And yet it's Denver that's penalized. At the very least, that should have been offsetting penalties.
Wow.
Well, that's getting away with one.
First down. Greasy dances out of potential trouble, but Chad Eaton catches up to him for a loss of 1. Let's see where they spot it. That might go as a sack.
Yeah, depending on whether Brian made it back to the line of scrimmage or not.
Last week, New England sacked the Miami quarterbacks, Heward and Greasy, 9 times. And this Denver team did not allow Greasy to be sacked once in the win over Green Bay. That will not go as a sack. It's officially 2nd down and 10. But he's going to have to run. Now he gets the block, and Greasy out to the 25-yard line. A gain of 15 before Willie McGinnis catches up with him.
A very smart play by Brian, because there was absolutely nothing downfield, and everybody has their back turned. You're going to see no help from the secondary whatsoever. Katzenmoyer tries. Willie McGinnis finally, with some good hustle, comes back in and makes the tackle. But everybody in the New England secondary in man coverage was 25 yards downfield. As soon as Brian saw that, away he went.
First down for Denver. They trail by 10. The handoff goes to Orlandis Gary, and he runs into Andy Katzenmoyer. Final minute of the first quarter of play. Orlandis Gary, 37 carries for 124 yards last week. Doubleheader for you today. Many of you will see Buffalo at Seattle in Game 2. Others will see the Jets out in Oakland. 2nd down, 11. Blitz again. Flip out to Howard Griffith. And the pass is incomplete.
Yeah, that time Chris Slade was right in there in the backfield. And Brian Greasy is going to see this. Here comes the corner. Slade comes in. The block is missed. And he really forces that throw from Brian Greasy. The Patriots effective with that blitz. The Broncos had it blocked correctly. They just didn't execute the block. And Slade was allowed to get in the face of the quarterback.
3rd and 11. Greasy goes deep right side for McCaffrey over Ty Law. And he makes the catch and is out of bounds with the first down.
Well, that is an excellent illustration as we've got a flag on the play back up towards the line of scrimmage.
Illegal contact. Number 21 of the defense. That is declined. Result of the play. First down.
For a 9-year player, which is what Ed McCaffrey is, he continues to get better with every game. All right, there's the penalty. But look at how he fights for the football. Ty Law is right there with him. Ty Law has really excellent coverage. He's got his hand. Ty Law almost touches the ball, and yet somehow McCaffrey stays with it and brings it in. Ed McCaffrey has become, slowly but surely, one of the top 5 receivers in the game of football.
On first down after the 35-yard gain, here's Olandis Gary. Slips one tackle, and Steve Israel catches up with him. But the first big play of the first quarter, and it's Greasy to McCaffrey. New England leads it 10-0. We'll return to Foxboro Stadium right after this message. Welcome back to Foxboro at the beginning of the second quarter. Patriots lead by 10. Dan Deerdorf and Bonnie Bernstein. Week 7 of the 1999 National Football League season. This the first visit this afternoon into New England territory by Denver. Greasy into the flat, and it's caught by Gary. Olandis Gary down the sidelines and out of bounds. And a flag is thrown from way downfield that might add to this 13-yard gain.
Well, you'd think so. There were 5 Patriots around Olandis Gary and not another Bronco. Well, look at that.
Offensive pass interference, number 86, 10 yards, repeat second down.
Well, Byron Chamberlain is the Denver Bronco that is singled out here. This would help explain probably why Olandis Gary was so wide open coming out of the flat.
I'm just confused because the flag was not thrown until he ran out of bounds.
I'm assuming he couldn't get the flag out of his pocket.
Okay. Here's doubt and here's benefit.
Well, I think Chamberlain's going to get called for a pick. Let's go ahead and roll this. That's Chamberlain in motion right here. Watch him come in and watch him right there. You see, there's the rub-off, and that's why Gary down here ends up being so wide open. But I can only assume the flag's so late because he just couldn't find it.
4th penalty against Denver, 2nd down and 17. Greasy right side. And he finds a man out of the right flat. That's Andre Cooper. Only his 2nd catch of this season. And Lawyer Malloy was there to defend the 15-yard gain.
And there's one of the things that Brian Greasy is really doing well. He's got Chris Slade underneath, and he has to loft the ball over the top of Chris Slade. You see Slade there, 53, and that was nice touch on the football by Brian Greasy, lofting it, but it was a good delivery from Greasy. Again, just his 7th NFL start.
3rd and 1. Here's the sweep to the left, the toss to Olandis Gary. And watch the 4th-round draft pick wrap his arms around that football.
Well, they've been preaching about fumbling, taking care of the football. The Broncos as a team have fumbled the ball 16 times this year. They've only lost 5 of them. But Olandis Gary, as a rookie, doesn't want to put it down. He knows that might find him some good bench time. Look at the body lean. Covers it up pretty well, although you saw that thing kind of come out on his hip a little bit there. That thing almost scored it out.
1st down and 10. They do convert the 3rd down, and Matt Lepsis, who had one game in which he was called for false starts 4 times
62.
Earlier this season.
5 yards, still first down.
This time they're going to give it to Dan Neal instead of Lepsis.
the right side of the offensive line, and it is Dan Neal, the right guard. Lepsis did go, but not until after Dan Neal had already, and it landed right on him. Oh, you know, that's insult to injury, isn't it? I've seen him stick in a face mask before.
You ever have it happen?
Well, yeah, those things got little lead weights on them. They hurt. They get through that's workman's comp.
Here's the handoff to Howard Griffith, a rare carry for number 29. And Lawyer Malloy with the tackle. Dan told you earlier, Howard Griffith's status was a game-time decision because of the jammed neck, but he came out early this afternoon and said, yep, we can give it a go.
Well, the Broncos signed Howard, the free agent, 97. He'd been in Carolina, and what a wonderful acquisition he was. Hello. Ouch. Is that the big cat?
That is Andy Katzenmoyer, number 59, who was the second of 2 first-round draft picks for the New England Patriots this year.
Yeah, he was the last of the draft choices the Patriots got from Bill Parcells going to the Jets. And watch this stick. Katzenmoyer, obviously a big man at 255. And starting at middle linebacker because Ted Johnson, the Patriots' normal starting middle linebacker, torn biceps. He's out for at least another month.
On third down, Greasy with a quick throw right side, but a flag is thrown. There are 2 flags down. One a late arriving flag in the direction of the reception, the other on the near side. Andre Cooper made the catch if the play stands. And here's Gerald Austin.
We have 2 fouls on the play. Defense, 42, lined up offside. Pass interference on the offense. Those penalties offset. Replete third down.
He didn't decline to give us a name or number on the offense.
Chris Carter was the player called for New England for lining up offside. There aren't many plays that are more boneheaded than a defensive back lining up offside. That is losing focus.
3rd and 7. Pete Carroll trying to urge a sometimes somnolent crowd here into some activity. McCaffrey goes wide right. Cooper comes to the near side. Patriots come with a blitz. A little flip left side, Chamberlain. But that's not enough for the first down. Greg Spires got good penetration on the play, number 94.
Well, Spires, a defensive end, actually out in coverage that time. And talk about a drive killer. You don't expect the defensive end to be the guy that gets out there and knocks the tight end out of bounds. Excellent work by Spires.
That brings on Jason Elam. 1 year ago tomorrow, he lined up from 63 yards out against Jacksonville and knocked home a field goal that put him in the record books along with Tom Dempsey. This one a little shorter.
And we're a little closer to sea level.
40-yard effort. And Jason Elam puts the Denver Broncos on the board. Elam now 9 of 12 for 1999.
And play in these conditions every weekend, you would do it. It's perfect.
This one taken by Falk at the 7. And he is sandwiched as he gets to the 26-yard line. 1 week from tomorrow, there's a whole new choice in the morning. Bryant Gumbel returns to morning television with Jane Clayson on The Early Show, premiering 1 week from tomorrow right here on CBS. New England's prize pupil linebacker Andy Katzenmoyer is already off to a great start. You can see the story on NFL.com.
Vern, bad news for the Patriots there. Marty Moore, their starting linebacker, last time at the conclusion of that play had somebody roll up the back of his leg. Ted Bruschi is hurt, and he's inactive today. Marty Moore starting at linebacker, and he really took a nasty shot at the conclusion of that run back.
So Moore being helped to the sidelines. We also had a flat flag on the kickoff. Denver offsides.
we're going to have to do that again. But Steve Sidwell, the defensive coordinator now for the Patriots, will be in full scramble mode, as there is a linebacker shortage here for New England.
Well, I'm guessing they're going to have to go with Vernon Crawford.
I think he's all they have left.
Yep. Bernard Russ, one of their linebackers, is on the inactive roster.
Yeah, Bruschi and Russ are both down. So you had Moore, you had Katzenmoyer, Slade, and Crawford. They are getting thin at the LB position.
Kick to be retaken this time from the 25, and Kevin Clark trying to get the crowd into it.
And a tepid response.
Yes. Tepid is a good adjective. That'll work. Here's Falk. He's got some room. Out to the 35-yard line, from which point New England takes it on offense again. Artie Ulmer, number 50, made the stop. Now let's check in with Bonnie Bernstein.
All right, Vern, Broncos defensive coordinator Greg Robinson makes no bones that someday he'd like to be a head coach. He coached mostly on defense throughout his career, but one season he was an offensive coordinator for UCLA, and we said, well, which do you like better, offense or defense? And he goes, well, I like both, but we always joke the offensive guys get to go home early. Takes them a couple seconds to make up a play, and then 10 hours on defense to figure out how to defend it.
All right, Bonnie. Greg Robinson. And here's the handoff. Goes to Terry Allen, number 22. Greg Robinson goes all the way back to the early 70s in his relationship with New England head coach Pete Carroll. They were college teammates.
At the University of Pacific, they've coached together at various times throughout their career. I believe at North Carolina and again at the New York Jets. Lifelong friends. In fact, they played at University of Pacific with a friend of mine, Willard Harrell, who was the running back on that team. And I would dare say, Bonnie and Vern, that Greg Robinson is probably the most accomplished coordinator in the game now, one of two or three that hasn't yet been a head coach.
Here's Bledsoe out of the backfield left side. And the catch made by Kevin Clark, immediately tackled by Ray Crockett, number 39. Well, Robinson was reminiscing with us last night about their days at the University of Pacific when Jan Michael Vincent came on the campus to make a movie. And Pete Carroll got a pretty substantial part as a football player.
I'll tell you what,
but here's
got to be a shining moment in Pete's life to have been in a Jan Michael Vincent movie. Can you imagine that? That doesn't get a lot better than that.
Well, those of us who played Happy Gilmore on our resumes are not in position to criticize others. Third down. Here's Bledsoe looking deep. They got him. He's out.
See, there's another illustration of Drew trying to make a big play. You have to admire his courage and his wanting to make a big play for the team. And I know it's third down, but Drew Bledsoe sits. And then there's just absolutely nothing there, and down he goes. Now, if that's first or second down, you criticize him more than on third down. But still, Drew Bledsoe holds the football just about as long or longer than any quarterback in the game.
Now Lee Johnson on the punt. George Coghill back to return. Again, Chris Watson, still bothered by the ankle injury, is inactive today. Great punt. It sure was. Lee Johnson has played in the league for 15 years. He was a freshman at BYU the last time New England beat Denver. That fine punt by Lee Johnson pins Denver back at their own 12-yard line. New England leads it 10-3 as we play here in the second quarter on this spectacular late October afternoon. Now there's a reference to John Elway's retirement. This is the first time since '83 that Denver has played here without number 7 at quarterback. Big opener, Orlando Scary, and a foot race. He is being chased by Chris Carter, and Carter catches up with him. But Orlando Scary inside the 30. A 60-yard run for the 4th-round draft pick out of Georgia.
And, of course, he draws a lot of comparisons to Terrell Davis. The difference between the two is that Terrell Davis would have taken that. There's Vernon Crawford, number 99, the new player in the game for Marty Moore. And the Broncos come right after him. And right at the point of attack, outstanding blocking by the Denver Broncos. Carter does save the touchdown. And I wouldn't be surprised if they go right back at Vernon Crawford again, try to find him.
Backs in the eye, play fake. Greasy comes left, and it's dropped by Howard Griffiths. Well, Olandis Gary, the 4th-round draft pick from Georgia's previous longest run was 14 yards. And, of course, he carried it 37 times last week. Young man who was inactive the first 4 games of the season. Derek LaVille replaced Terrell Davis, and then LaVille went down with an injury, clearing the way for Gary's first start last week. Backs in the eye, and McCaffrey in motion, followed by Ty Law. Greasy with time, goes deep, got a man inside the 5, and out of bounds, touchdown. He's in for the score, Rod Smith.
Rod Smith for the touchdown.
Well, Rod Smith starts to the right of the formation and really just runs a slant across. He'll make his break right there, and he makes the break and runs away from Steve Israel. And Chris Carter, the safety, is supposed to have closer coverage. Israel knows he has help to the inside, and Carter a little late in reacting and catching up with Rod Smith, but a strike from Greasy.
Jason Elam ties it up inside the right upright. The Broncos 88 yards away. They get a 60-yard run. It's 10-10.
And so much for protecting a lead. Israel. The key guy right here, though, is going to be Chris Carter, who's late. Israel knows right here he's got help to the inside, but Carter a little late in reacting. That's his responsibility to help out Steve Israel on the middle of the field. He's late getting there. Of course, Carter, the safety in place of Willie Clay, who was released by the Patriots during training camp, and he has taken some heat, most of it deserved.
Kevin Clark with a short kickoff from Jason Elam, bounces back to his right, and he's got some room. Hold down at the 39-yard line. Tackle made by Torrey James, but a 33-yard return to equal his jersey number. 10-10 ball game, 7:38 to go before the break. Denver coming back from a 10-point deficit. And the Patriots with a first down at the 39. Tonight on 60 Minutes, Ed Bradley and Bill Bradley on why he wants to be president. Bill, that is, not Ed. 60 Minutes, that's tonight. Here's the flip. And the pass complete. Tony Carter to the 50. And again, a reminder, 60 Minutes tonight. And it will feature Ed Bradley's report on Bill Bradley. First and 10 at the 50, a gain of 11.
Well, that was a nice adjustment, Vern, by New England. Tony Carter and Bledsoe on the blitz, an all-out weak side blitz there by Denver, picked up, and then Carter with a nifty move downfield, setting motion.
Comes the blitz. The handoff goes to Terry Allen. No gain. Now let's see what's going on elsewhere in the NFL. Here's Jim Nance.
All right, Vern, this touchdown for the Colts set up with another long pass play from Manning to Harrison. Edgerrin James, the rookie, is in. 14-0 Colts, 9:33 to go second quarter. Let's go back to Foxboro.
All right, Jim, our score 10-10, 6:35 remaining in this one, and a second down and 9 officially. Now as Bledsoe brings them up.
And we're going to be watching highlights of Harrison, Manning, and Edgerrin James for a long time.
Terry Allen to the 45-yard line. Well, the Patriots, Dan, thought they had their running back problem solved with the emergence of Robert Edwards last year, but he had a near career-ending injury, and it may turn out to be that way at the Pro Bowl back in February. So Terry Allen came in with 2 bad knees and a lot of worn tread at times.
And the Patriots try to compensate somewhat by drafting Kevin Falk in the second round. But the loss of Robert Edwards was just such a huge loss. Very popular player and a talented guy.
Here's Bledsoe with pressure, has to let it go, and they came with the blitz. Darius Johnson, number 25, right at Bledsoe's feet when he let go of the ball.
And Greg Robinson, the defensive coordinator for Denver, blitzes on every down this series. He comes with guys on every single down. Bledsoe forced to throw the ball retreating. Darius Johnson at his ankles as he tries to make the throw. But Greg Robinson extremely aggressive on that series for Denver.
Lee Johnson on the punt. Coghill, fair catch. Grabbed it.
Lost of style points there, but he caught the ball.
That was not a Luganis. Monday on CBS, imagine your sister-in-law just became a nun. Well, it just happened to Ray. Find out how far he's going to go to clean up his act. It's a heavenly all-new Everybody Loves Raymond. Monday on CBS. In the second quarter, the Broncos with 119 yards. They grabbed 88 of those in the last possession.
And of course, those yards reflect the score. A 10-0 lead becomes a 10-10 ball game.
Back split, two wide receivers left side, and McCaffrey in motion. Followed again by Ty Law. Flag.
Looked like moving on the left side of the Denver
Ball
line.
start, number 77, 5 yards. It's still first down.
Tony Jones, the left tackle for Denver. And again, I'll tell you, not a false start generated by crowd noise. This is, I'm sure Denver realizes, for a road environment, just about as quiet as it gets. And I don't really understand it because I've been coming to Foxboro for years, and normally, now they're making somewhat of an effort here to make some noise.
Here's the handoff after the 7th Denver penalty, and no gain on the play. It was Howard Griffith, number 29.
I don't understand it, Vern. This was always a raucous, loud, pretty wild bunch here in Foxboro, and I don't know if they're fatalistic. There's a lot of talk here how Pete Carroll's teams have had a mid-season swoon the last couple of years, which they have. They've lost 4 out of 5, 5 out of 6 after strong starts. And they're almost fatalistic here in New England, the way they talk about it.
Which is why this game has been regarded by many as pivotal. The team has lost its last 2. Now on defense, here comes McGinnis. Greasy back. Dodges Willie McGinnis. But then is hit, takes the tackle, and finally downed and drowned at the 10-yard line. Trying to swim back to the line of scrimmage.
Willie McGinnis just screaming to anybody that'll listen that he was being held by Tony Jones. Watch him come off the ball here at the bottom. Willie anticipates Brian Greasy's snap count. That's part of the reason. But Tony Jones gets into him, but, really doesn't hold him, not by today's standards. And Brian Greasy just being elusive until the big cat puts him away. Ohio State drops Michigan.
Well, Andy Katzenmoyer said he owed him some. Greasy and the Michigan team defeated Ohio State twice during Katzenmoyer's days in Columbus. Here comes the blitz. Greasy, good protection, throws deep, and it's incomplete. Cateau Serwanga with good downfield coverage and a flag back at the line of scrimmage. Holding Denver. Rod Smith, the intended receiver.
Holding, number 66 of the offense. Penalty is declined. Fourth down.
Penalty called on Tom Nalen, and after the penalty decline, Tom Ruin comes on. Kevin Falk, 2 outstanding punt returns already. And again, trying to get the crowd to respond with enthusiasm.
Well, they should. The Patriots ought to come out of this with excellent field position.
Not Ruin's best punt. Bounces at the 50, but that straight bounce up in the air allowed the Denver pursuit to get down, and Kevin Falk backs away from it. 47-yard punt, nothing on the return. Next Saturday, it's a twin bill of conference excitement on CBS. First, Don Nalen's West Virginia Mountaineers take on Kenny Kelly and the Miami Hurricanes. And then Doug Johnson sparks Steve Spurrier's Florida Gators against Quincy Carter and the Georgia Bulldogs. And at halftime, Tim Brando and Spencer Tillman with the halftime report.
Well, Ben Coates has been a part of things for the Patriots so far, but we haven't seen a shot downfield yet to Terry Glenn.
Saw one early, and it was incomplete.
And it wouldn't be surprising if we see one this series.
Tony Carter bangs his way for about 3. After the 48-yard line, the tackle made by Dale Carter.
I'm speaking of a completed shot.
Yes.
Like to see one for the Patriots that actually connects. Ben Kotso has been a big part of the Patriots offense here in the first half. Either in the middle of the field, a nice completion to the sidelines. But as Ben goes, so goes this offense.
Terry Glenn breaks off top of the screen to the left side. The second tight end, Ron Rutledge, in motion. Bledsoe. There's Coates again. Incomplete.
And Drew just didn't get anything on that ball. He had Coates open. He's just not able to really drive through the ball as Bledsoe throws it. Ben Coates just going down about 10 yards and then making his break to the sideline. And in the zone, he's wide open. But the ball from Bledsoe just a little soft getting there, but it still hits Coates right in the hands. When I first saw that from up here, I thought that ball was lower than that, down more towards his ankles. That ball was really up about the thighs, and Ben Coates should have caught that.
3rd and 4. And the Patriots go out of the spread. 4-man rush for the Broncos. The pass left side. Bobble to drop. Intended for Terry Allen. Well, the New England Patriots were 2 of 11 on 3rd downs in the loss last week to Miami. They talked about the need to sustain drives today.
Well, and when you talk about sustaining drives, you expect your all-pros to make routine plays. And Ben Coates, that is a first down reception if Ben Coates holds on to that football. And Vern, we're not having a discussion about them failing on 3rd down.
Lee Johnson's 4th punt. Coghill lets it go, and it does go into the end zone and comes out to the 20 with the touchback, a 52-yard punt for Lee Johnson. Monday on CBS, comedian Alan King is the world's most obnoxious client, and his lawyers are about to learn he'll do anything to win his case. It's Family Law, Monday on CBS. 10-10 ball game, and a first down 10. Denver at the 20-yard line, just under 3 to go in the first quarter of play. New England yielding 90 points in the first half so far this season, but much stingy in the second. Gary gets the give and about a yard. And a reminder that we'll take you back to New York City for the NASDAQ halftime report. Jim, Craig, Randy, and Jerry with scores and highlights and a preview of that Buffalo-Seattle game that takes place as the dominant game in the second half of our doubleheader.
Regardless of who wins or loses this football game, for the Patriots, they're still embroiled in the I think, the most competitive division in football, the AFC East. If Denver wins this game today and goes to 3-4, they are right in the middle of the AFC West.
Stiff defense by the Patriots on the run again on 2nd down and 8. Lawyer Malloy, number 36, makes the tackle, and whoops.
This is not a smart play. This is not a smart play by Carswell to start throwing punches like that.
Here comes Chris Slade, and they certainly can't have Chris Slade getting ejected from this thing.
No.
He's close to it.
And one rule you learn early on in your football career is you don't ever take off your helmet when things get a little hot. That baby's hard. You like it right where it is, on top of your noodle.
2-minute warning. The problem continues for New England in 3rd down.
Yeah, it really does, Vern. Although they've got the field positions in their favor right here. A big 3rd down play coming up. If they're successful in holding Denver, they're going to get another shot with good field position. They didn't do anything with it last time. Let's see if New England can capitalize now.
Greasy comes out of it and fires the ball, which is
yay or nay?
Yay.
And it was incomplete. That would have been reviewed if it would have been ruled a completed catch, because it looked from that angle right there that even though Ed McCaffrey came up with a great effort, he took that thing off the ground. Now we're inside 2 minutes. 2 minutes. So this is not a challenge from the bench, but it certainly is being looked at over in the replay booth.
Well, the replay official today is Gerald Markbright, longtime NFL referee.
Jerry Markbright, one of the great referees, a long and illustrious career here in the NFL. Behind the glass are the guys working away in the replay booth, but I think we had a pretty definitive look at it right there, that thing was on the ground.
Right. And so Tom Ruin is on to punt for the 4th time, and Kevin Falk awaits the ball at the 31.
And New England gets another shot at good field position. What a punt.
And that is at sea level. All the way back to the 15. Here's Foxboro with a lot of room. And he spilled as he gets to the 34-yard line. A 63-yard Tom Ruin punt. 17 on the return.
Ruin doesn't know where he is. He thinks he's still back in Denver. Boy, what under the gun and under the circumstances of inside the 2-minute warning. What a fine punt by Tommy Ruin.
And the Patriots now with a first down, ball spotted at their own 34-yard line. You can see they've had the better of average field position in which they've started drive. And they're just about at the 38 here, 4-yard shot. 3 wide receivers in for Drew Bledsoe and the Patriots. And they try the draw play, which is sniffed out immediately by Ma'a. Lamont Warren got the handoff, and the crowd boos.
Well, I don't think it's such a bad call. If Tanavasa doesn't make this play, it looks like it's going to go for big yards. You can't throw the football every single time. But then again, if you're going to run it, you try to come up with something that gets you at least 5.
Second down, here comes the blitz. Bledsoe steps up, lets it go deep. He's got Terry Glenn. Glenn's loose at the 40 and cuts back to his right. Now it's a foot race. Terry Glenn at the 10. Knocked down at the 1.
To get up on their feet and start to cheer because their favorite combination clicks. Right in the middle of the field, working against the zone. Tyrone Braxton, the safety that has coverage, misses once, misses twice. And Terry Glenn at the end, I think he lands right on the football. Let's see if Terry was real slow getting up, and he looked like he landed hard right on top of the football. And that hurt.
67-yard gain before Torrey James made the tackle. And he made the tackle just outside the 1-yard line.
The football has very little give in it when you happen to land on it. And it's not it doesn't sound like that big a deal, but it can break your ribs. It can knock the wind out of you. If you land the wrong way on a football, it can do some damage.
Terry Glenn, the controversial number 1 draft pick, controversial in the sense that Bill Parcells didn't want him and Bobby Greer did.
And now the Patriots are in this position, Vern, because we've been talking about New England not able to convert on 3rd down. But in reality, the last 2 times, the Broncos had the football deep in their own territory. They weren't able to convert on 3rd down. They had to punt it away, and even though a good punt by Ruin, still good field position for the Patriots. This time they've capitalized.
First and goal at the 1. They've got Carter going in motion, number 30. Play fake. Terry Allen is faked, and here comes Bledsoe being chased by Neil Smith. He throws it away.
Well, Neil Smith single-handedly destroyed that play. Neil Smith is blocked. Take a look right here. Rucci 71 comes out to pick him up, and Neil Smith just goes right over the top of Todd Rucci. You give Neil Smith 2 stars for that play.
Well, we're 29 seconds away from the NASDAQ halftime report with Jim, Craig, Randy, and Jerry. Second down and goal. Backs in the eye. They give it off to Terry Allen, and he plunges over for the touchdown. Young man who in 1996 scored 21 times.
Again, with a long-time career with the Washington Redskins. Before that, Terry Allen, 5 years with the Minnesota Vikings. His game is power. This is where he loves to run between the tackles, and he got outstanding blocking on the left side from Armstrong, Irwin, and the rookie center, Damian Woody. And amazingly, 2 rushing touchdowns so far for New England.
Adams Vinatieri. 67-yard pass completion by Glenn. Set it up. Allen gets the touchdown. Near the 35-yard line to give the Broncos a first down with 20 seconds to go before the break, and they have 2 timeouts left.
Vern, I think the reality of it is for this Denver team to be in this situation before, ho-hum, who cares? Number 7 will take care of everything. Right. We got Shannon Sharp, and we got Terrell Davis and a couple thousand yards that he'll deliver. There's no way that this team can possibly have the confidence that it used to have. Certainly it still believes it can win, but it was nothing that could rattle this team, not when John Elway was the quarterback.
And off goes to John Avery, and he moves it out near the 45.
Did that ball come loose when he went down? I'm waiting to see a referee, an official pointing at the field.
There has been no such indication.
Well, so they're going to rule it down by contact.
Katzenmoyer makes the stop, number 59. Well, here's a partial list of those who are no longer on the field for the Broncos. John, of course, retired. Terrell out for the year. Shannon Sharp is expected back, but probably only by the time the playoffs start if Denver makes it.
That's an 8 to 10 week, and the only one who really left on his own, other than Elway, was Steve Atwater. He was released by the team, and that was Mike Shanahan making the decision not to re-sign Atwater, and that really didn't sit well with a lot of the veterans on this club. Very popular player and a leader.
Greasy across the middle. Caught at the 40-yard line by Byron Chamberlain. Time called with 7 seconds to go. That is the last Denver timeout. Complete. And now 4 seconds to go. Let's see if they give Elam. Yeah, they're going to give Jason Elam a chance.
Now, but the reality, Vern, if that's a completed pass, the Broncos don't get another play. I don't understand the thinking behind going with such a short route. They have no timeouts. They couldn't have stopped the clock. And that would have accomplished nothing to complete that pass.
Well, they're going to call this a 58-yarder. That's unofficial. And the bobbled snap. Tom Ruin couldn't control the snap. And so for Mike Shanahan's team, the first half ends with a whimper. It wasn't a bobbled snap, it was a bad snap.
It was a one-hopper.
Trey Teague is the man who tried to snap it back, but it was a ground ball. And let's check in with Bonnie Bernstein.
Give it 10 seconds.
All right, Coach. That must have really disappointed you not having the chances for the field goal.
Yeah, it was a tough snap and a tough hold. I'm just glad he held on to the football instead of doing something stupid.
Second half adjustments.
Well, we got to overcome some penalties. We stopped ourselves a number of times. We got to get our momentum back like we did in that second quarter. We do that. Hopefully good things will happen.
Thanks for the time, Coach Byrne.
All right, Bonnie, thank you. Halfway through on a late October afternoon, New England leads Denver 7. So I suppose the shock is 2 rushing touchdowns for New England.
Yes, it is, and I'm sure it's a shock to Denver. And, as we talked about it and we heard Mike Shanahan say going off the field, what's really upsetting him is you look towards the bottom there and that penalty. they've got 7. New England has played a flawless first half. Now, New England might have recoiled a little bit after blowing that 10-point lead, but you know what? They fought back to take the lead, so they're showing a little resilience.
Went 66 yards officially in 4 plays. They did get the big play that was one more than that, 67 yards. The catch by Terry Glenn off of Drew Bledsoe's throw. John Avery deep, awaiting Adam Vinatieri's kick, and we're underway with the third quarter. This one short, taken at the 6. And here is Avery, the one-time Miami Dolphin first-round draft pick, out to the 28-yard line. Moments ago, Bonnie Bernstein chatted with Pete Carroll.
Coach, that big catch by Terry Glenn to set up that touchdown before the half. What do you need to do to keep the lead?
Well, we got to make sure we're solid on defense. We had a real bad series in there when we lost Marty Moore, and we didn't respond very well. We got to play good football. It's going to be a great ball game on both sides. Everybody's going to slug it out and see if we can get a win today.
Coach, thanks, Vern.
All right, Bonnie, he makes reference to an ankle and knee injury to Marty Moore, who was questionable to return. And 3 healthy linebackers suited up for the remainder of the game now for the Patriots. On first down, here's Greasy. The handoff comes left.
And there's one of them, Vernon Crawford. You see him, number 99 there to the left of your screen. He is the only linebacker left, and he had to take the place of Marty Moore. The Broncos went right at him and capitalized on the first couple of plays. But they are out of breathing room with their linebacking corps. Steve Sidwell, their defensive coordinator. I don't know who would be next. I don't know if it would be Willie McGinnis, Pete Carroll. I don't know. Vern Lundquist.
That's not going to happen. Here's the pass to Chamberlain. The tight end had been split wide to the left and runs a little crossing pattern. Picks up a 13-yard completion. Lawyer Malloy with the tackle.
Curious reaction by Lawyer Malloy. Yes, you delivered a nice hit, but the last time I looked, it was for a first down. Big hit by Lawyer Malloy, but Chamberlain picks up a first down for Denver. And that is a big-time hit, but if you look at it, Chamberlain took it, kept going forward.
Here's the toss to Gary, then back to Greasy. He's got McCaffrey all alone at the 30. Chris Carter comes over late to make the tackle. And McCaffrey down by Ty Law and Captain Moyer at the 16, a gain of 40. A variation on the flea flicker.
Again, Ed McCaffrey is the go-to guy in the Denver offense. Good-looking play. And that is a major flea flicker as it comes back all the way back, and you can't be a whole lot more open. And look at the end of this play. Ed McCaffrey is becoming the most difficult receiver in football to tackle. Yeah, he's huge. He's 6'5", 215, but this guy has more fight in him than the average 4 or 5 guys.
Here's Alandis Gary, and a modest gain inside the 15 down to the 14-yard line.
I think everybody in Western civilization last week saw his play against Green Bay when he stiff-armed Darren Sharper and dropped him to the ground on that long touchdown pass at Mile High Stadium. That's a reception where legends are born, Vern, things like that.
Well, that stiff arm, of course, reminiscent of the pose from the Heisman Trophy, referred to by many as the Heisman, and a lot of us who live in Colorado think Heisman and think of Doak Walker and remember him. Doak passed away just a little over a year ago. Here's a pass completed to the 12-yard line. The catch made by Rod Smith, who has a touchdown grab, and then Vernon Crawford, number 99, makes the tackle. Well, it was a year ago, Dan, that Rod Smith was widely regarded as the go-to guy for the Broncos.
And Shannon Sharp, of course, right. the number 1 receiving tight end in the game of football, and he's been subtracted from this Denver offense. But Ed McCaffrey has become the man, and he not only has become the man, he is the man. He comes through time after time after time.
3rd and 4 at the 10. Broncos trail by 7. John Avery is the setback. And here's Greasy half roll to the right, little shovel pass, and Avery drops it. They worked that similar play. That's an incomplete pass and not a fumble, but it was Byron Chamberlain who picked up 88 yards out of that formation last week.
And they put McCaffrey in motion to the opposite side to draw the attention. And there's really no excuse for Avery not handling that ball. Brian Greasy delivers it right on his palm.
Jason Elam from 28 yards away. Ray Teague dribbled one back before the halftime break. This one on the money. The hold down from Tom Ruin and the field goal good, but a wasted opportunity. They have to settle for 3 when they needed 7.
Eyes of a puppy dog.
17-13, New England leads 5-4. Drew Bledsoe is about to get another opportunity to come back on the field. Bledsoe 8 for 15 for 159 so far. And that last drive by the Broncos to open the second half, 62 yards in 7 plays. The big one, the flea flicker to McCaffrey from Greasy. Elam taken by Falk at the 15. Another short kickoff by Jason Elam. And Falk moves it out to the 31, perhaps the 32. See where they spot the ball. The tackle made by George Coghill, number 48. Now here's Bledsoe. He was bemoaning the lost opportunities in the last couple of weeks. New England came in 4-0. He said, we had a chance to really grab hold of this division had they won at Kansas City and had they held on to the lead last week against Miami.
Well, who would ever imagine your defense spots you to a 14-0 lead. In the process, Dan Marino has to leave the game because of an injury, and Damon Heward is the quarterback you have to beat. Who'd have thought?
Breaks the tackle, gets a block downfield from Terry Glenn, and here goes Terry Allen. And I'll tell you, Terry Glenn had a pretty decent block downfield to help free him for the 39-yard gain.
Oh, he sure did, Vern. Just straight out of the I formation. Bruce Armstrong gets his guy to the outside, Irwin and Damian Woody, and Terry Glenn downfield. It's nothing spectacular, but it's more than enough against Ray Crockett. He pins Crockett back to the inside. He can't force the contain, and Terry Allen busted. This is more signs of life from the Patriot running game than they have shown since Jim Nance was carrying the ball here.
That's Nance from 65 to 71. Here's Jefferson. And the pass complete to the 24-yard line.
Of course, Craig James is sitting back there going, wait a minute, I
mentioned my name. Now, the number 2 and number 8 rushers all time in the history of the New England Patriots are Jim Nance and Craig James, which means that Randy Cross and Jerry Glanville are feeling quite left out. But that's Jim Nance, as in Nance, rushed for the Patriots from 65 to 71. Second down and 4. Backs in the eye. Quick flip left side. Sean Jefferson again. And the tackle made near the 20-yard line. Doubleheader for you today on the NFL on CBS, and most of you will see Buffalo take on the Seahawks in the Kingdome game 2. Others will watch the Jets at Oakland. New York goes in 1-5. Rick Meyer back at quarterback after Ray Lucas's injury on the final play last week.
Although I guess Ray Lucas has had a pretty good week as far as rehabbing.
First and 10. Draw play. Al Wilson, Tyrone Braxton with the tackle. Now let's check in with Bonnie Bernstein.
All right, Vern, it's not very often that Terry Glenn gets shut out, but he had no catches last week against Miami, and I asked Pete Carroll how he reacted to it, and he said, you know what, I was so impressed with him. He took the initiative to go over with the scout team and take extra reps. Not only did it increase Glenn's level of play, but Ty Law he played against. And he said Thursday was the best week of practice for him yet.
Quick opener. Terry Allen burst up the middle, and it's a first and goal after an 18-yard gain.
Well, all week long, everybody in New England has been telling Bruce Armstrong, Heath Irwin, Woody, Rucci, and Moss that they're not very good run blockers. Well, take a look at that hole and say that these guys aren't good run blockers. A good lead block by Tony Carter, and Terry Allen busts through a huge hole against one of the NFL's best run defenses.
Carter and Allen backs in the eye. They'll hand it off, and it gets a touchdown, third rushing touchdown of the game. And that is the first time since 1996, when a guy named Curtis Martin had 3 on the ground, that the Patriots have rushed for 3 touchdowns in a game.
And I think a statement is being made by these guys up front. group being told, read one column, they were referred to as the 5 blocks of limestone. And, a good pass blocking group, but can't run block. Well, we'll see if they can sustain this over a long period of time, but they've done it so far today.
Vinatieri. On the ground, the Patriots roll, led by Terry Allen. Johnson on the left, the injured middle linebacker, torn left bicep, and Marty Moore, who is out for the game, sprained knee. 2 of the injured linebackers for the Patriots. 1st and 10. Here's Gracie with a short setup. Pressure from the backside, and the pass overthrown for Chamberlain at the 40-yard line. And let's look at Terry Allen from a yard out just a moment ago.
Here is Rod Rutledge. Here is Armstrong, Irwin in here, and Woody at the center. But look at the surge. Look at the surge at the point of attack. Ben Coates gets in there as well, but this is a case where they really took Denver and moved them back into the end zone. It's the kind of a drive and the kind of success that really gets an offensive line pumped up and believing in themselves.
Orlando's Gary with a deep handoff, struggles out across the 25 to the 26, and into the arms of Andy Katzenmoyer, number 59. Katzenmoyer, who picked off Dan Marino, returned it 57 yards. Early in the game, it was Marino's second throw of the ball game last week. The Hall of Fame took the first pass that Marino threw because he completed it and went over 60,000 yards. They wanted to get the second ball. They gave that ball to Marino. The Hall of Fame wanted the second ball. That was the one that Katzenmoyer returned.
They took it.
Yeah, they took it. Anthony Lynn is in the lineup. 3rd down. Right side. That's short of the first down. The pass complete at the 31-yard line. Shawanga made the tackle, but Denver's going to have the punt. This is complete the Katzenmoyer story. He was given the ball after he returned it for the interception and the touchdown, and thought that that's the one he took home to put on the mantle. They just told him Saturday, no, that one is in the Canton Hall of Fame.
And a really shaky route right there, run by Andre Cooper. You don't run an out pattern 2 yards short of the first down sticks in a situation like that on 3rd down. A little more awareness would be nice.
Falk under Ruin's punt at the 14. And he gets it out to the 29-yard line. That is a 14-yard punt return. Special teams have been a positive factor for New England today. 17 attempts when they can rely on the ground game. Here's Bledsoe handing it off to Sherry Allen. And Allen closing in on the 100-yard day out to the 33-yard line. Monday on CBS, an all-new night of the best comedy on television. We begin with The King of Queens, starring Kevin James and Jerry Stiller. That's followed by Ladies' Man. Then Everybody Loves Raymond, Becker, and finally Family Law. All new episodes. That is the Monday night lineup on CBS. 13 carries, 94 yards, and a couple of touchdowns for Terry Allen.
And even though that last run, Vern, nothing spectacular, very effective. 4 yards on first down. Every offensive coordinator in football takes.
Bledsoe with time goes deep left side, and there was a mix-up of some sort. That one went right to Pete Carroll.
And there's a good job of Bledsoe finding nothing. And this is just good work by the Broncos downfield, taking away his receivers, just dumping it. Don't take the sack. And that was really kind of a weak effort on Pete's part.
Boy, was it ever.
You know, how's he going to sell to his guys use 2 hands to catch the football when he tries to snag it with just one?
I mean, this is a guy who played defensive back collegiate.
Whatever happened to leading by example?
3rd down and 6. Right side this time for Ben Coates, but he is going to be denied the first down yardage as he is knocked out of bounds. Good defensive play by Bill Romanowski, number 53. And that will bring up a 4th down. Ben Coates limping as he starts across the field.
Well, Ben had an MRI done on his left knee earlier this week, and it certainly looks like he's being pretty ginger when he puts that left leg. It was negative. They didn't find anything wrong with it. Ooh, and you could see as Romanowski drives him into the ground, it looked like it hyperextended a little bit. Romo had a hold of that left leg when he was tackling Ben Coates.
Lee Johnson on for his 5th punt.
He sprained that knee, Vern, the first week of training camp. He missed the preseason opener. It's just been a little bothersome.
Coghill backs up and grabs this at the 9-yard line. Good downfield coverage by New England. Vernon Crawford led the way. A 55-yard punt, 7 on the return. And Vernon Crawford gets the tackle. Time call. 5 yards away, first down and 10. And they trail 24-13. Did you miss a big game? Now you can relive each game from the NFL season. Get stats, photos, plus complete play-by-play drive charts in the 1999 archive. Just click on NFL@cbs.sportsline.com. First down and 10. Tom Nalen snaps it back to Greasy, and there's Rod Smith coming left to right and making the grab at the 25. He is down at the 26-yard line.
Good timing pattern, just a quick slant. Israel gets the duty with Rod Smith as Ty Law is going to be locked up on McCaffrey most of the time, and it's not a bad idea for Brian Greasy to look to the other side of the field.
Rod Smith.
Seems like he's been in the league longer than 5 years, doesn't it, though?
Here's Greasy looking right for Chamberlain. And Brian Chamberlain makes the tackle out of bounds at the 40. That's another Denver first down. So back-to-back gains of 11 and 14.
And the Denver Broncos, who've been playing a whole lot of this game in the shadow of their own end zone, now get a couple of quick first downs by Brian Greasy spreading the ball around. Green Bay, the game of his life.
First down. Orlandis Gary breaks the initial contact and moves out near the 47-yard line. Now let's check in with Bonnie Bernstein.
Okay, Vern, it doesn't look like there's anything wrong with Ben Coates. It had to do with the MRI that he had on his left knee. He's got some ice right below his right knee, like right on the side of his leg. Evidently, when he went out of bounds on that last tackle, the defender kind of landed on it, but it looks like it's going to be okay.
Second down and 4, and Vernon Crawford is down. Of all the things the Patriots do not need, it's to lose another linebacker.
No, and that's certainly good news for Ben Coates and the Patriots if he's okay to come back, and it's not a problem. But we are scratching our heads. We do not know where the Patriots go on their depth chart. With Bernard Russ is scratched. Teddy Bruschi is scratched. Marty Moore, who started, is in street clothes. And the only 3 linebackers left in uniform are Chris Slade, Andy Katzenmoyer, and that guy, Vernon Crawford. They go to the old 5. There's Ted Johnson going, you better get back out there. There's Teddy Bruschi, inactive today. He's got a knee. A little nickel defense, I think, is going to have to go into effect for the Patriots there.
Second down and 4 with 3:35 to go. Larry Wickham is in, number 25. Here's Greasy with a play fake. Pops it across the middle. That is caught. And the yardage necessary for first down is Carswell. Makes the grab in front of Lawyer Malloy.
Of course, Larry Wickham being in means that they're having to go to a nickel defense, now playing with 5 defensive backs and only 2 linebackers. A defense that Denver, you would think, would try to exploit running the football. Wickham, who's been to the Pro Bowl for his special teams work before.
And a first down 10, Broncos at the Patriot 46. Play fake again, Greasy back to the right, and Gary makes the grab. Knocked out of bounds at the 41-yard line by Lawyer Malloy.
Well, it's only an advantage if you exploit it. And curiously, Denver, 2 times against a 5 defensive back coverage, throws the football. Brian Greasy of course, executing the plays that are called by Mike Shanahan, but he's very effective in getting everybody involved.
Second down and 6. Greasy back, steps up, goes deep, left side for Rod Smith. Flag is thrown. This could be an illegal contact. Gerald Austin, the referee.
Illegal use of hands to the face. Number 21 of the defense. 5 yards. Automatic first down.
Steve Israel gets called for a jam to the face. He's working against Rod Smith. There it is. Of course, Rod Smith grabs his jersey in retaliation, but I think that's the case where the first defense gets the call. You can jam him. You're supposed to jam him, but that hit has to come in the chest. And amazingly, that's the first penalty of the day against the New England Patriots.
Results in a first down, Denver at the 36. McCaffrey in motion, blocks, and the handoff given to Gary, who tries to get to the outside. Orlandis Gary to the 34-yard line before Ty Law, number 24, makes the stop.
Gary, normally a guy who when he takes it, slams it into the line of scrimmage. It's one of the few times you see him actually bounce it to the outside. Right there, it looked like he had an opportunity to just go ahead and challenge the line of scrimmage by lowering his shoulders and going. The Patriot pursuit was all over him there.
Gary, 78 yards, but all but 18. 60 yards came on one carry. So the rest has been a struggle. Here's McCaffrey in motion on second down. Play fake. And they try to find Carswell, the tight end, roughing the passer.
Oh, Chris Slade runs over to Austin to try to plead his case.
And Pete Carroll saying, think.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Throwing him to the ground. Number 53. 15 yards. First down.
It's all about pulling up and being able to control yourself after, you know, Gerald Austin's thinking is that Slade's 2 steps away. I'd like to look at that again if we get a chance. There's a case where Slade was about 2 steps away. Can he see the football leaving? Does his vision allow him to see the football being thrown by Brian Greasy? Well, certainly it does. And in Austin's mind, seeing the football leave as clearly as he did, you don't have the right to grab the quarterback and throw him into the ground. Now, have we seen that a million times, not been called? Absolutely.
Not sure the reason for the conference, but it's going on at the 25-yard line. The ball has been spotted at the 18.
On the play, we had roughing the passer by number 53. That is penalized. During the same sequence of play, we have taken the helmet off by number 53. That penalty is declined. First down, Denver.
A new rule that went into effect a couple years ago is that you cannot take off your helmet on the field of play while it's still an active play. It's a lot of people call that the old Emmitt Smith rule.
Exactly.
That didn't much matter. Chris already knew that they got him once.
Avery out of the backfield to the right side. Quick flip out to John Avery. And he is tackled immediately by Steve Israel. Now let's check in our New York studios. Once again, here's Jim Nance.
All right, Vern, watch this. Marshall Faulk, you would never know that he's battling a case of food poisoning. Stutter steps his way out of traffic and on his way 32 in
the National Football League by a wide margin, and they're increasing it today.
Second down and 8. The handoff to Gary coming left. Banks his way inside the 10 of the 9-yard line. Chris Slade made the tackle.
And that's what I'd be doing if I'm Denver against this defense that New England is being forced to play, is hammering the football in there at him. Here comes Gary. This is more what we're used to. That's what they call him Baby Riggins. They call him Baby Riggins in Denver. And you've got a good look at it right there, the way he delivered a blow against a would-be tackler.
3rd and 1 at the 9. Quick count. Handoff, Gary left side. And it would appear that he has enough for a 1st and 10. 1st and goal.
Olandis Gary listed at 5'11", 218. And Vern, would you agree with me as we sat and talked with him yesterday that none of us thought that he weighed that much? He looks smaller than that.
Would that you and I could hide the weight that well. That's the end of 3 at Foxboro. New England leads at 24-13. We'll return to New England after this word from your local station. 11, but the Broncos 1st down and goal at the 8-yard line. Vern Lundquist, Dan Deerdorf, Bonnie Bernstein, and New England with defensive injury problems.
Yeah, they really do, Vern. Now they run somebody back. Is that Vernon Crawford coming into the game now? I think he just came back out onto the field because without him, the Patriots in this situation would have to play nickel. Yeah, there is Vernon Crawford. He has his knee taped up. He's got a knee sprain, and he's going to try to make a go of it.
1st and goal at the 8. Greasy hands it off to Gary, and Gary hit at the line of scrimmage, manages 1 yard. Henry Thomas thought he might have come out with the football, but down by contact. Henry Thomas, who is playing with a broken right little toe.
Vernon Crawford gamely trying to play here, but looks stiff as a board. He's got a huge brace on his knee, taped up, and he is trying to make a go of it. There's not a lot of mercy in this game. You've got to go. You got to go after him.
Here's the quick count and the play fake. Greasy being chased by Collins, throws it away. Barrett Collins' pursuit of Brian Greasy, and Greasy thought perhaps there was contact after he was out of bounds.
Well, one of the good battles we've had going all day is between Ed McCaffrey and Ty Law. Whenever possible, Law's going to lock up on McCaffrey. Ty, of course, giving away about 6 inches in height to Ed McCaffrey. Compensates for that by grabbing, shoving, contact. But in today's world, acceptable.
McCaffrey and Smith go wide to the left. Chamberlain and Cooper are wide right. Draw play. Greasy heads to the goal line. Touchdown, Denver.
He did it last week against Green Bay. And we saw John Elway over the years run that quarterback draw, design play. Brian Greasy just takes 2 steps back, cuts in behind the block of Nalen and Schlereth, and there's a real void in the middle. By the time Chris Carter able to come up and make a hit, Brian Greasy already in the end zone. And Denver right back in this baby.
Trailing by 5. They will go for the 1 rather than 2. Greasy gets the touchdown from 7 yards away.
Why wouldn't you go for 2, Vern? Try to get within 3.
The 2 names, yeah.
They are one and the same in some respects.
They think a lot alike.
Yes, they do.
And Greasy and Steve Antonopoulos chatting on the sideline. Greasy at the end of a 12-play drive. Here comes Jason Elam. Kevin Falk drifts back and grabs this at the goal line. Heads to his right, where he is dragged down at the 17-yard line. The tackle made by Billy Miller.
Let's go ahead and take a look one more time at that quarterback draw by Brian Greasy. And look what they did by spreading the field. 3 receivers here. Look, it bunches this whole pocket over here. 2 receivers here, pockets it here, and look at the middle of the field wide open for Brian Greasy. There's a formation that sets up a play. New England late in compensating. By the time Carter gets over, it's too late. But there's where the formation makes the play.
On the kickoff coverage, Darius Johnson, number 25, injured and being aided in his walk to the near sideline. 4-year man. And Bledsoe brings them up. 164 passing yards thus far today,
but well below his average.
I got it.
Darius Johnson cleared the field of play and backs in the eye on 1st and 10. Vincent Grizzly starts in motion, and the handoff up the middle goes to Terry Allen, number 22.
And Vincent Brisby is a guy that has been active for several games, actively was seeking to be traded by the trade deadline, which is since gone, and just wants to be a bigger part of things. And of course, he's been a favorite of Drew Bledsoe's over the years, Vern.
We haven't mentioned that Troy Brown is on the inactive list again today with an injury sustained in the opening kickoff in Kansas City. Thus, the increased participation of Vincent Brisby. Here is Allen trying to get to the outside. Flag, face mask.
I think Romanowski got a hand on the face mask. Question here, will it be the 5 or the 15-yard variety? And in terms of field position, that's going to make a big difference.
Face mask, 5 yards. On the defense, number 53. Repeat, second down.
So if it's the 15-yard variety, that's a personal foul, an automatic first down, and everything that goes with it. Let's take a look here at 53, spins out, and the right hand right there gets on the face mask, and he pulled it down and didn't actually jerk his head down with it. And that's what they look for, and that's why it was only the 5-yard and not an automatic first down.
Second down and 1, play fake. Bledsoe will try and grab a bunch. And he's got Terry Glenn with a catch on the first down.
Oh, that's pretty. Aren't many things in football that are more attractive than a receiver working the sidelines with precision, both with the route he runs and his footwork at the sideline. Turns Ray Crockett, and look at Terry Glenn. Let's look at the feet as he makes the catch, both of them inbounds. Just really quality work at the sidelines by Glenn, and a perfect strike from Drew.
13-yard gain for Terry Glenn, his second catch. He had the big one of 67 yards that led to a New England touchdown. Here's Terry Allen hit behind the line, but the tackle missed by Al Wilson. And Allen moves out to the 45-yard line.
It's not often we see a game like today where we have two playoff teams of a year ago, both with rookie middle linebackers. Al Wilson right there, who was the 31st pick in the draft this year, the last first-rounder taken, and Andy Katzenmoyer starting on the other side for Denver, for New England, both of them starting because of injuries. John Mobley being out for the Broncos necessitates Wilson being in there, Ted Johnson, Katzenmoyer.
Second down and 5, and Allen pops as he gets to the 46.5-yard line. Al Wilson.
Al Wilson, one of the things I like about him, he does deliver a hit. Take a look at the end of that play. Although helmet to helmet by Al Wilson as he puts a pretty good stinger right there on Terry Allen.
Well, Mike Shanahan was saying last night that this youngster has given a considerable degree of enthusiasm to this football team, and that the veterans really have taken to it.
As they say in the business, he's got a motor.
Here's Bledsoe in trouble. Caught and dropped at the 42.
And Eric Brown comes on the safety blitz, and nobody from New England there to pick him up, and Drew really has no chance whatsoever. Nowhere to go, and really, luckily, avoids takes a big shot. From the far side, up top, Eric Brown, number 26, times it perfectly, and even Neil Smith, clear to the outside, isn't blocked either.
Now we'll see who they give the official credit to. Neil Smith took him down. Here's Coghill awaiting the Lee Johnson punt. At the 11. Not much there.
Coghill's return to the 17. Tackled by Andy.
6-yard return to the 47-yard punt. And a flag down.
We've got an eligible receiver downfield. I think we may even have another one. Do we have another flag downfield?
Ineligible, number 59 downfield, 5 yards, repeat 4th down.
Brad Seeley, the special teams coach.
Well, 59 is Andy Katzenmoyer.
Right.
Their starting middle linebacker. And again, Brad Seeley over there making his case. Everybody is participating on special teams for the New England Patriots. And of course, Denver's going to make New England punt again. They had virtually no return, so they're and this is always the tough part on a penalty like this, is you just completed sprinting 50 yards downfield. You got to turn right around and do it again. Here's Andy Katzenmoyer all the way over here to the left. You can't leave till the ball's kicked, and there he goes. Andy looks here like he's a good 5 yards downfield before the ball snapped.
Let's see what difference this makes in field position for Denver. Here's Johnson's punt. Coghill moves up, grabs this one at the 18-yard line. And it's down. Tony Carter makes the tackle as they get to the 28-yard line. 44 on the punt, 11 on the return. Time call. And Denver, they trail by 4. And here's a first down pass from Greasy. Looks right and finds Billy Miller, just activated from the practice squad or signed off the practice squad. Number 82, and that's a pickup of 11.
Well, Billy Miller comes through, as we saw the last time Terry Glenn working the sidelines. This time it's Billy Miller's turn. Although he turns back to the inside, and by the time the coverage slides in from Chris Carter, he still has time to react to a ball back to his inside.
Gain of 11, first down and 10 at the 40. John Avery is in the lineup, gets the quick flip out to the right side. They want to work Avery one-on-one, and he scoots down the sidelines to the 48-yard line. Now let's check in with Bonnie Bernstein.
All right, Vern, when Brian Greasy scored on that quarterback draw in the last series, the defense walked off the field, and Pete Carroll absolutely lit up defensive tackle Henry Thomas. Chad Eaton was fired up as well, and he said, guys, we got to take care of things in the red zone.
Well, there's Henry Thomas.
Well, Bonnie, he had every reason to be upset. It's not like that quarterback draw is some trick play for Denver. They run it all the time.
On second down and 2, Olandis Gary over left guard. Tackle made by Brandon Mitchell and Chad Eaton, but that's good enough for a first down and 10.
If you're going to go to that 5-receiver formation and spread the field, the defensive linemen have to talk among themselves and realize that we have to be responsible for the middle. And when it's a play that a team runs all the time, you work all week in practice against it, and then when you blow it during a game, the coach has a right to be a little upset.
First and 10, Denver in New England territory. Greasy with a play fake, goes deep for McCaffrey and overthrows it. There was a mix-up between the second-year quarterback and his lead go-to guy.
And Ed signaling over to the Denver bench that he needs to be replaced, and Andre Cooper comes in to replace him. Ed, Ty Law, and somehow Brian Greasy, thinking that Ed McCaffrey was working back towards the sidelines, may have confused Brian that Ty Law passed him off in his own coverage. There's been a lot of man coverage out of Law so far.
Second down and 10. McCaffrey out. Billy Miller's back in. Here's Greasy. They'll try the middle, and he finds Carswell. The big tight end, known more as a blocker than a receiver, and he's got a first down at the 27.
And Carswell, who only had 3 catches coming into this game, I think that's his second one today. So take a look at Brian Greasy as he looks down the field. And a lot of hands right in the middle. But even without Shannon Sharp, you got to wonder if there's a team in the league that has more tight end depth than the Denver Broncos, with Carswell and Chamberlain in reserve.
Here's the toss to Gary coming right. Gets inside the 25, and a flag from way downfield. Slade and Katzenmoyer made the tackle, but holding Denver.
Holding number 82 of the offense. 10 yards, repeat first down.
One of those small, subtle things. He replaced McCaffrey, and Billy Miller playing in his first game, guilty of the hold.
Well, he got this drive started with a nice little 12-yard reception on the sideline. He just hurt this drive as he grabs a hold of Steve Israel and spins him all the way around. That is a lazy block by a wide receiver right out in space where everybody in the stadium, and especially everybody in the striped shirt, could see it.
First and 20. Greasy. McCaffrey back in the field, and Ed McCaffrey backs his way inside the 25.
I'm telling you, Vern, this guy is the toughest tackle in the league for a wide receiver. He has everything. He has power, he has shiftiness, and he has improvisational skills. Look at this. The guy, okay, I'm going to spin around, and look at the way this guy fights. Horseradish, mustard.
Second and 5. Across the middle, caught by Alandis Gary. Circling by Vernon Crawford, who was hobbled with a bad knee and is playing with a brace on his knee. And that one's good for a first down at the 5.
Well, you give Vernon Crawford credit for playing, but there is no way that he's going to come anywhere near Alandis Gary in the open field. Katzenmoyer's to this side, but he's not in his zone. He's in Crawford, and Crawford can literally do nothing but wave at Alandis Gary as he goes by.
First and goal, Denver, 7 to go in the game. McCaffrey in motion. Gary gets the handoff and 2 difficult yards down near the 6.
It's really a difficult situation for Steve Sidwell, the defensive coordinator of New England, because Vernon Crawford is his only able linebacker, and if he can't go, he's forced to go completely with the nickel defense. There's Steve with the mustache, and yes, he's got every reason to rub his forehead. This is more difficult than it needs to be because of injury.
Second and goal. Play fake, Greasy. Chase. Missed by McGinnis, and then throws it away.
There is a good look at a quarterback who's growing up before our eyes. Smart play. Not many guys get away from a healthy Willie McGinnis. Brian Greasy does. He's got no chance of getting it to Rod Smith, who's held, pushed, shoved, mugged. But look at this play by Brian Greasy. Gets away from Willie McGinnis, takes a look. No, I'm not going to do anything stupid here.
Flag is thrown. Is this an eligible substitution?
Illegal substitution. 12 men in the huddle, 5 yards, still third down.
And the 10th Denver penalty.
You can substitute, but when a guy comes out on the field, the guy he's replacing has to leave the huddle. The reason that rule is in there is that it's an unfair advantage because the defense doesn't know who's coming, who's going, and who's staying. Just a brain lapse by somebody on Denver's offensive team. Dwayne Carswell comes into the huddle, and he's not quite sure who he's supposed to replace. And you see right there, 12 guys are in the huddle, the clock is running, and Gerald Alston does the right thing.
There was a stoppage of play, but no timeout was charged, and now it's third and goal from the 12. Greasy across the middle, dropped by Chamberlain. Right through his hands at the 6, but he was well covered.
Coming right across the middle, it's a zone. Andy Katzenmoyer responsible for that area, even though he was there and looks like he would have made the tackle. Who knows? Maybe Chamberlain's able to break the tackle, make something happen.
Now here's Elam from 30 yards away, this to bring them to within 1, and we questioned a moment ago when they scored, here's Elam's kick, it is good, when the Broncos decided to try a single point after touchdown instead of attempt a 2-point conversion. Now they're down by 1 with 6:10 to go. Patriots lead by 1 with just over 6 minutes remaining. That last drive, 59 yards, 11 plays. It took 4:25. Kevin Falk awaits the kick. And has it at the 7. Middle of the field, across the 30 and out to the 34-yard line. Tackle made by David Bowens, number 52. New England has lost its last 2 games by a total of 3 points. They lead by 1 here.
CBS is sponsored by Nike and by MGM Pictures. The wait is over. The world is yours. The world is not enough. Rated PG-13.
Back at Foxboro Stadium, 24-23 with 6:01 remaining, and the Patriots in possession of the ball.
And Vern, the Patriots have 129 yards rushing so far, but you know something? This is when running the football really counts. 6 minutes left in a ball game. You have the lead. If you can't run it here, that's how you lose football games.
They will play fake on first down. Bledsoe rolling out and drills it incomplete. And a check in with Bonnie Bernstein.
All right, Vern, after 2 rushing touchdowns today, Terry Allen has sustained a concussion. He will not return the rest of the game.
All right, Bonnie, thank you.
And that hurt big time. Kevin Falk is the next in line, and look at Allen, over 100 yards today. And with his heavy style of running, a guy whose game is power, this is where you really desperately need him. And this is a big, big loss for New England. There's Falk that has to take his place, but he's a rookie, and he's not nearly a load.
And he's playing on a bad ankle. Here's play fake again. Bledsoe coming left. It's caught. And the catch for the first down, Vincent Brisby. A flag is down. This one might come back.
Oh, this is a killer. The flag back at the line of scrimmage. Brisby did everything right. He stayed in bounds. He got the first down. And one of the linemen for New England downfield early.
Number 65, ineligible downfield, 5 yards. Repeat second down.
Damian Woody, their rookie center, their #1 draft choice this year. Just a little anxious. Of course, he's right here in the middle where the centers normally are. Let's take a look at him as he comes down the line of scrimmage. And there he turns, and he is downfield and blocking before the ball is even thrown.
Second down.
And as far as penalties go, Vern, New England hasn't had many today, but that one is large.
Modest fake by Bledsoe. Deep pass, Brisby all alone. Wow, he was wide open near midfield. A gain of 27.
And as passes go, that was even larger. And Damian Woody right now is the happiest guy in the New England huddle. If I was Damian Woody, I would run up and congratulate Vincent Brisby for helping me out. How does a guy get that open? You don't. I'm looking for a Denver guy to come into the picture. Well, Vincent Brisby, who a week ago, not even sure if he was going to be here today, comes up big.
27 yards on that play. The handoff down to Falk, and he gets about 3, or gets 3 to the 41. Trevor Price with the tackle. Coming up tonight on 60 Minutes, Ed Bradley and Bill Bradley and why he wants to be president. Bill, that is, not Ed. That's 60 Minutes tonight. Then a powerful all-new Touched by an Angel, followed by the CBS Sunday movie The Soul Collector, a mystical story starring Melissa Gilbert, Bruce Greenwood, and Ossie Davis. That's tonight on CBS. Denver calls time. They have 2 left.
Well, in that situation, Vern, taking over the football in your own territory with 6 minutes left, what you would have liked to have done if you were New England in an ideal situation was hammer away at the line of scrimmage with your running game. But without Terry Allen, they had to go to the man, and the man is Drew Bledsoe.
Terry Allen, benched with a concussion, will not be back. Well, here's a look at what New England has been involved in so far this year. Only 1 decisive game, and that by decisive I mean more than 4 or 5 points. Second down and 7. That is the win over Cleveland. Here's a draw play to Falk. Got to the 38-yard line.
Third down.
Braxton, Alfred Williams with the tackle.
Alfred Williams.
And that brings up third down.
And this is where the chess game now between Greg Robinson, the defensive coordinator for Denver, and Ernie Zampese, the offensive coordinator for New England. How much do I gamble is what Greg Robinson is having to go through right now. Do I bring him? Because this is a down run or pass. They bring him, and they got him. Yep. Eric Brown, safety blitz, untouched, and Drew has no chance whatsoever. And it's not a surprise. Greg Robinson, maybe the most creative blitzer in the league. Drew Bledsoe telling us he gets 8 into the box and blitzes better than anybody in the league. Coming off the short corner, and Drew Bledsoe, he doesn't want to make a mistake, doesn't want to be stupid, throwing it downfield, but chalk that one up to Greg Robinson and the Broncos.
That is the 4th sack of Drew Bledsoe this afternoon. Here's Lee Johnson on the punt. Lee Johnson's punt limps into the end zone, touchback, and the Denver Broncos will have a first down and 10 at the 20. I want to welcome those of you who watched another decisive Ram victory as they remain undefeated. We have a 24-23 game here, 3:15 remaining. The Broncos trail by 1. First down with Brian Griese at quarterback.
And Vern, this is where you earn your money. I don't care if you're a second-year player like Brian Griese or a substantial veteran like Dan Marino or Drew Bledsoe. It's your job now to make plays, and that's what Brian Griese has to try to do for the Denver Broncos trailing by a point.
Willie McGinnis trying to urge the crowd to respond with cheers, and they do. First and 10 at the 20. Blitz. Griese drifting to his right, being chased. Will run it out of bounds. 2 weeks from tonight.
Yeah, we've had plenty of that today. More than our fair share of shake, rattle, and roll, and a few ulcers to go along with it.
Billy Miller comes near side. McCaffrey is wide to the left, and Rod Smith in the slot. Second down, 11. Griese almost picked off. Completes the pass to Billy Miller.
Oh, and a late flag, Vern. Boy, a late flag comes in at the conclusion of that play.
Patriots.
Pass interference. Number 21 of the defense. Automatic first down.
Call made on Steve Israel.
Well, when you're the corner opposite Ty Law, there's always a lot of pressure and a lot of action coming your way because you're going to get the majority of work. And there is the great Ty Law, locked up most of the day on Ed McCaffrey as he is right here.
First and 10. Griese across the middle to Gary, and he is hit immediately by Andy Katzenmoyer. Then help from Vernon Crawford.
And the Broncos take a timeout. They really didn't have another play called in the huddle. They weren't prepared to go up to the line of scrimmage and run something in a hurry, which I'm kind of surprised. I'm really surprised, Vern. That leaves them with only one left, and that really, you would think that Denver would have had a little more urgency and been prepared to get up to the line and run another play in a hurry.
Well, 2:52 remaining in this one. This is the first of 2 games for you this afternoon on CBS. Many of you will watch Buffalo at Seattle in Game 2. Others will see the New York Jets as they visit the Bay Area and take on the Oakland Raiders. That's the second game of this twin bell. Well, Patriots leading by 1. Denver second down. They need 4. They have 1 timeout left. Greasy across the middle again. Olandis Gary, the rookie 4th-round draft pick. And he's got a Denver first down to the 44, a pickup of 15.
And you don't need me to remind you, if you're a Patriots fan, that the guy kicking field goals for the Denver Broncos has the strongest leg in the business. Plenty of time to still work the middle of the field, and Olandis Gary breaking tackles, making it happen. Again, though, a youngster quarterback throwing to a youngster out of the backfield. It's kids playing football.
Here's the blitz. There's McCaffrey. And a flag as contact is made. This could go against Ty Law.
Well, there's pushing and shoving on both sides.
Pass interference. Number 24, the defense. Penalty is applied. Result of the play, first down.
Well, it doesn't do a lot of good to boo. It's irrelevant because it's a completed pass to Ed McCaffrey anyway. And that was Ty Law making contact with McCaffrey. And again, you have to praise McCaffrey. Doesn't seem to make much difference.
Draw play. Gary. Lawyer Malloy. A loss for the Denver Broncos. We've reached the 2-minute warning. Patriots up by 1. Let's hang on to a 1-point lead. 24-23, 2 to go. Broncos have 1 timeout left. Jason Elam, if you're thinking about field goal, is 3 for 3 today, and the wind is at his back. And it was a year ago tomorrow that he offered a 63-yard field goal at Mile High against Jacksonville. 2nd and 14. Quick pass, left side, McCaffrey. Knight and down.
Oh, and Ed McCaffrey hit awfully hard.
McCaffrey with the catch and then the collision with the ground.
Ed McCaffrey has to go high to catch this pass from Brian Greasy. And Ty Law drives right through his legs, and you can see the violent collision with McCaffrey in the ground. He doesn't hit his head. He lands right on the back of his shoulder.
And because we are under the 2-minute mark, Denver will be charged with a timeout because of the injury, so they are now out of timeouts. And Ed McCaffrey, anxious moments on the Denver sideline as he stays down.
So 2 matters of concern right now for Denver. One, obviously, Ed McCaffrey. But secondly, is that you need that timeout in the bank because you need a field goal attempt to win the football game. So now Denver going to have to be careful when they get down inside 30 seconds or so. Do they have the ability to run a play and stop the clock? Let's take a look at this one more time at regular speed. And again, the first thing you look for is to see, did he land on his head? Did his neck hit the ground at an awkward angle? And the answer to both of those questions was no. And maybe, hopefully, it's just a situation where McCaffrey had the wind knocked out of him.
(24-23) New England. McCaffrey down, having made the catch at the 40-yard line. And they tend to him right now. And we're told that Jerry Austin is looking at this play. Jerry Markbride is the replay official. And once we're inside the 2-minute mark, of course, all decisions affecting replay.
Ruling on the field, a completed pass is being reviewed.
All right, we were so intent on looking at Ed McCaffrey and whether or not he was hurt. Let's go ahead and look at when he landed. You've got to hold on to the football. You must demonstrate possession after you hit the ground. Well, the ball appears to be off the ground, even though I don't know if you could call that possession or not. Now keep in mind what's really important here. I believe it was ruled a catch on the field. So Austin has to see conclusive evidence to the contrary to overturn this. Well, you could make the case that as Ed McCaffrey came down, the ball came loose from his left hand and bounced off the ground. The question is whether or not Gerald Austin's going to see enough to overturn the call on the field. The ball did touch the ground. I don't think there's any question about that. This is where a pass is different from a fumble. I mean, a running play.
After reviewing the play, the call on the field stands as a completed pass because his elbow hits the ground and he has possession of the ball before the ball touches the ground.
Well, in the referee's eyes, that constituted possession. But that's where a pass is different than a running play. The ground can cause a fumble on a pass play.
McCaffrey out of the game on the sideline. Denver charged with a timeout. They have none left. It's 3rd and 7. Out of the shotgun.
You would think New England is going to blitz.
Here they come. Here's Greasy. Incomplete. Jason Elam, 1 year ago tomorrow, kicked one 63 yards.
And here he comes. You don't give a young quarterback a long time to make a decision in a pressure situation like this. You've got to come after Brian Greasy. That's exactly what the New England Patriots did there. You're going to get beat by a youngster. Make a decision in a couple of seconds.
59-yard effort. Trey Teague will snap it. Tom Ruin will hold it. And Jason Elam will attempt it.
Keep in mind he has the wind.
Wide right
and way short. And a huge factor here. Denver, no timeouts. Never was within the frame of the uprights. No chance. And a guy, well, two teams that needed a win. Certainly Denver needed it more desperately than New England. But New England's going to get it because they can run out the clock and Denver can do absolutely nothing.
And one thinks back to the decision by the Broncos to not try for 2 points after their last touchdown. Instead, take what essentially is an automatic 1 point after touchdown.
They had 19 on the scoreboard. They had the chance to either kick the extra point to make it 20 or to try for 2 to make it 21. Mike Shanahan elected to go ahead and just kick it at the time, trail 24-20. And we wondered about it at the time, Vern, thinking, what's the difference in trailing by 4 or trailing by 5? Either way, you still needed a touchdown to get in front.
Second game of the doubleheader coming up shortly. Many of you will see Buffalo at Seattle. Others will watch the New York Jets take on Oakland. That's the second game of our doubleheader as we near the midway point of the 1999 season.
And you look at this New England Patriots team, Vern. Now they go to 5-2. They have a field goal hit the upright, and they lose to Kansas City, and they blow a 14-0 lead and lose to Miami. This is a team that very easily could be 7-0.
And the Patriots will win for the first time in 12 games against the Denver Broncos. Next up, a trip to Arizona for the Patriots, who are now 5-2. And the Denver Broncos, having won 2 in a row, lose here and fall to 2-5. Final score, Patriots 24, the Denver Broncos 23. Coming next, the second game of our doubleheader. Again, most of you will see Buffalo take on the Seattle Seahawks. Some of you will watch the Jets and Oakland.